all of about 10, and I was drawing all the time. Not so much painting at that point, but a lot of drawing. My father was a professional photographer and my mother was a painter. It's definitely in the DNA. Oils are my passion, my love, just everything about them, the feel, the smell, textures you can get, what you can paint on boards or canvas surpasses any other medium for me.
How do you feel about your work going from the canvas or the clay board to aluminum?
I like the timing of this because lately I've been playing with my love of watercolor and my love of oils and taking oils and playing with their transparencies. So this is a good example of I added color and I also subtracted color just as much. So it has that transparent quality and it's got some of those really juicy, yummy grays in it. And I'm thinking, works like this could be incredible on aluminum. I've seen some photographs that look pretty cool on aluminum, but I think oil paintings might just be fantastic. Currently, I've got 3 principal subject matters, and it's the flowers and that communication. It's also landscape. I want to present landscapes local and known sometimes, and also completely made up and imaginary. It depends on what I'm trying to communicate with people, and sometimes I want to communicate that sense of tranquility, so I need to maybe just make up a tranquil environment. So then my other one would be birds. I spend a lot of time traveling just to see birds, like out to see, say, the paradise flycatcher out in Papua New Guinea on some islands way out there. I've been known to sit there hours staring at a shrub, just knowing I'm going to see, this particular bird that's in there. And sure enough, they usually show.
Could you share with us a little bit about some of the challenges with your career as an artist?
I'd have to say one of my biggest challenges is rejection, because no matter what you do as an artist, you're going to get rejection. You apply for shows, people reject you in this way or that way. And of course, you get that in art school, so it sort of prepares you, but it's still hurts.
Yeah.
It's like you pour your heart and soul into your work, and it's never going to appeal to everybody, that's for sure. It'll always be to this or to that. Another challenge is I didn't realize, and I'd heard this from successful artists before, about 60% of your time is actually spent doing the yada stuff, like social media stuff, or getting your supplies, or just the mechanical stuff. It's not just getting to paint, it's all this little surrounding stuff, and it's all good. I didn't see that one coming.
One other thing I was kind of curious about was how the intersection between your background as an engineer and as an artist, and how those things kind of interplay or intersect.
Yeah, it intersects every day with me. It's wonderful. I was that kid who always bought old toys and tore them apart and put them together in a different way. And so the engineering part was always something I loved. And then, of course, always doing the artwork from my very young age, too. They were both something that I loved, that it made sense after I got my bachelor's in fine arts and really was insecure about trying to make a living at it. Things engineering kept showing up in my life, and it was just like a light went off. It was like, I think I can do that in addition to the other, but I think I can do that too. That's not going to be a problem. And I remember when I applied to the graduate program, I'd already gone through the 2 years, the preliminary stuff. I'd gotten into the professional program at Oregon State, and I thought I'll just do my master's. The head of the department says, well, nobody does that. What are you thinking? Didn't you notice your bachelor's was fine arts? And he was not very happy about it. And all of a sudden, I just found myself catching some insight and saying to him, well, what is the problem here? Don't you think I'm going to complete the program? And he just looked at me like, what? Nobody talks to me that way. And he said, well, if I ever see like a B or a C on your report card, you're out of here. But unfortunately, I had all A's at that time. So I didn't always vet, but skated in on that one.
Good timing.
Good timing, yeah. I did the graduate work and loved it. And I worked with robotic systems, designing all kinds of machines to solve problems and putting together things like integrated circuit boards. I used machine vision systems and robots and conveyances. And I was designing multi-million-dollar systems. They were just letting me do that. I can't believe they're letting me do this. I really didn't have the skills. I hadn't been in the manufacturing world, but I sure learned quick and loved it. It was great. And then when we got married, we traveled around the world for like well over 2 years and came home pregnant with the twins, and life changed.
Well, you've got a lot of experience painting. Is there anything kind of unique or maybe unconventional that you've learned through your painting process that you find yourself implementing in a lot of your work?
One of the things I really learned was to be a little bit of a rebel, like right from the beginning. It was actually a rebellious act when I was at the university. It was a rebellious act to create a painting that had representational significance. It was much more acceptable to create a conceptual artwork and write a 5-page dossier about the conceptual artwork you created. So I think you just have to learn to be a rebel right from the beginning. You have to try to reach with every stroke you do. And I still, to this day, every painting I do, I'm always trying to get outside of myself and integrate knowledge from other places. Lately, it's been I've been integrating transparencies of certain water or certain oils that have almost a watercolor aspect, and they're very unique. So anyway, it's just all about experimenting with life and seeing what works. I can't approach a painting like, oh, I'm going to hit this one out of the ballpark, because I don't know, it's just better to approach it like, oh, I want to solve this problem. I want to represent this glow. I want to represent that flower petal. I want to, just have something spark in my heart.
That's really cool. You do seem to, I think we can all appreciate nature and its beauty and stuff, but you seem to have a really astute eye or something for, I noticed reading something I saw with, just colors of a rose and it being associated with romance. And I know personally, I think I don't really think like that, but I'm fascinated that what you see in nature and how you represent it. And I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I've always been a nature girl. I've always been the hiker, backpacker, the person who was off exploring. During COVID, got into this language of flowers. I got into noticing it more. With much of the literature I read, you will find flowers are the form of communication. And so I got into, okay, how did the Victorians communicate? How did the Native Americans communicate? How were Greek and Roman, and how did they speak and communicate with each other without using words? Of course, everybody has their own interpretation of what they're like. When you see a waterfall, how does that affect you? How does that, what does that spark in you? I mean, sometimes when I see just the most common thing, I can be just floored by its natural beauty, and just, that's it. We're stopping. I'm looking at this.